So guys, February 1941, Empire of China, Japan under our direct control. Insane modifiers. Division attack, division defense, recruitable population, army experience daily, stability, war support, again attack and defense on core territory, then political power gain, army experience gain, minus 5% consumer good factories factor, minus 40% consumer goods factories factor. And look at the modifiers on our leader. Party popularity, stability, division attack, division defense, justify war goal time, minus 25%. China is insane as long as you use the right strategy, and this is the right strategy. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. As promised, we are not done with China just yet. Today I'm sharing with you the absolute best strategy to achieve max power as any China. Once again, this primarily involves not playing as China. Most of the warlords can follow this path, but Guangdong is the one with the highest starting potential, so it will be our pick. That said, today we're going beyond simply unifying China. We shall not rest until our arch-enemy, Japan, is fully under our control. And if you're curious to see how, you're in the right place. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments, and don't forget to join our Discord to meet our amazing community. And then as always guys, if you enjoy the content I make, liking the video, subscribing and leaving a comment really helps the channel grow faster. That said, let's get started. You know the drill, all the research and focus priorities will be in the description of the video, so they will not be covered in the edited version. And the dedicated spreadsheet covering all steps in detail is available to Tier 2 members in our shared folder. Alright, let's get going. Yeah. Nice start. I wonder if the noise suppression removed that or not. Well, if it did, I will sound crazy now talking about me sneezing without the sound of it. But this is what the unedited version is for as well. Alright, other than me sneezing, a brief explanation of the focus path priority and why we chose it, only for the unedited version of the video. We start with this one because we need political power as soon as possible for a couple of advisors, you will see it later. Then we go straight for these two. Now, one of the reasons I really like Guangdong is that Guangxi will actually complete the other ones here. So we just need to complete two of them, these two. Guangxi will do all of the other ones. And when they reach this point, we unify with them, we get their army, we get their industry, and that's basically doubling our resources early on, which is actually amazing. You get in a war with China, but that's no problem. Then, while we wait to proceed with the additional focuses, we start buffing ourselves a little bit. We get an extra sieve, an extra mill, an extra research slot, useful stuff for later on. Then we go down this path, and so if you watch some of the live streams, you may have noticed that I was working mainly with this path here. And the reason was that I wanted to annex all of China and not have warlords around compared to the Sichuan guide I made. But then I realized that actually you can easily do that by following this path. You simply don't pick rally the warlords, you go straight for a new expedition, then you gain a war goal against China, and that's it. So you can fight China very easily in this way, and that's very, very smooth. And then you just do the same thing as we did in the original Sichuan guide. So you give stuff to Japan, and in return you take Beijing and Nanjing, and then you take all of China. You can do it earlier, and you can do it with the best buffs and without the warlords. Now, why don't we do that at Sichuan, since the strategy is similar? Well, simply because Guangdong is better if you don't have the puppet armies. Of course, it's a bit harder to do it with Guangdong. We'll have a smaller army. But at the same time, we don't have to defend on the southern side. Well, Sichuan is right in the middle of this puppet, so you have multiple fronts if you don't take the puppets that you need to defend. So it's much easier as Guangdong. You can do it without puppets, and the price for that is, well, it's a lot more resources after the war. Well, I'd say we explained pretty much everything. Let's not forget to pick the focus. Here is our starting building priority. Yeah, military production is quite simple for now. As for the army... Oh yeah, 1 second. Now, in the live streams, you may not have watched them, but in the live streams I gave a lot of love to Vegeta and Dr. Hoops, which definitely deserve it. But let me give some to some other members in this video. So, who can get some love here? God Magus, let's say. Okay. We're not going to use this one. We're going to rename these to a tier 4 member of the channel. This is going to be our Inf. We're going to save it, and we're going to change all of these divisions into God Magus Inf. We're going to set them all at the border with China and start training them. And that's already it for the starting setup. So our first goal, as soon as we complete the first focus, is to pick the Army Offense Specialist and boost our stability a bit with improved worker condition. Next, we're going to boost stability even further with political loyalty. We can assign the army to a general and a marshal. We can also give him some traits already. Let's give him infantry expert. Because very soon we'll find ourselves at war with China. That's an event, but nothing to worry about. So what's going to happen is that Guangxi will complete this focus, and once they do, we'll get a unification event with Guangxi. There we go. So once you get the event, pick only together, we can fend off this threat. They always accept, there is no RNG. Okay, or if there is RNG, I'm sure you will find it, but as far as I know, there is no RNG. And you should get there 14 divisions. Now, sometimes I had this bug and they only had 10 divisions, but I really think that's a bug. They should be 14. If they're 10, maybe restart, because that kind of make a big difference. In any case, we assign them to the front. Not much we have to do with them. We actually also get two very good, well, a very good general, a very good field marshal. That can also be used as a general, though. Then what's going to happen is that China declares war on us, and that means immediately we can pick war economy. That's a very early war economy, and it's going to make a difference. It's actually going to help. Then we're going to keep our leader. He's a very good leader. One of the main reasons I like Guangdong is that you get this extra air experience daily from the very beginning of the run. Overall, you get some air bonuses that are very useful later in the run. And if you look at the other ones, you just get some surrender limit and division defense, which is not particularly useful. So we keep our guy here. We also get some political power. Now, okay, that's not good. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you lose a tile or two, just don't lose too many, ideally. Divisions take a little bit to get in position, so that can happen. But it's absolutely okay. And China doesn't usually attack you, so you can actually keep training your divisions. Now, this is not a real war. We just need to wait for 160 days. China will not attack you, and then the war will be over, and we'll be happy. And just hope we didn't lose any factory. How do you know if the factories are not under your control? I kind of see it there. It should be fine. At 150 political power, we're going to pick the war industrialist. Now we can build military factories quite fast. Oh yeah, no constant training. My bad. Just want to train them all the way up to regular, of course. Okay, white piece. We can pick the next focus. And we get back our land, of course. Okay, now that we got the white piece, we're going to change everything into inf. Actually, remove the other ones. We're not going to use any of those templates. Then we need to design a new template. We're going to create empty, and we're going to make a basic 2 with cavalry. This cavalry is going to be extremely important for our run. We want to recruit 24 of them, and since we are since we are at it, we can also change it for the occupation law and local police force. Now we're also going to make some changes to our infantry. First of all, we're going to add some support artillery. Then we're going to duplicate it, and we're going to create a new template. Andrew, you will get this one. And this one is going to be called off. We're going to make it elite, and we're going to add a line artillery battalion to it, so it has a total combat weight of 15. Now this is mainly for safety reasons. It's not strictly needed, but it can be useful if we get stuck somewhere, because this can actually push decently well. We're going to save it. Then we're going to take 6 divisions, ideally 6 that already have good strength. And we're going to change them into this new offensive template. Now make sure that this is elite, we want them to reinforce before the others. We're also going to give them a good general, maybe this one. We can prepare now the setup. So yeah, actually we're going to do it a little bit later. For now we set them up down here and we let them train in peace. And give them the highest motorization priority. Now we also want to start producing some line artillery. We also want to start producing some artillery. We're going to make it the highest priority, and we are going to dedicate 2 factories to it. Let's make sure everybody is training all the way up to regular. Alright, next we're going to pick army logistics, and we research the trains. We want to start producing them right away. We dedicate 1 factory to them, the next one that we will build. So for now it stays at 0. Look at our stability, already at 100%. Now at 50 political power, we are going to pick the artillery specialist. And as soon as possible, we want to pick the first air spirit. Should be just a few days. There we go. So we will build up a lot of air experience. We also need it for paratroopers later on, so that's very good. We want to start deploying our cavalry. It's already ready. So we can set them up down here, give them a fallback line too, and start training them all the way up to regular. And then we're going to make a change to our infantry, and we're going to bring it to 14 width. Of course, we'll need to train them again now. Alright, Japan is attacking China, but for now we don't care. In fact, they can push into China. I had a test run in which they pushed all the way to past Nanjing, like almost to Wuhan, and it was still fine. So you really don't have to worry. In fact, if they push quite well initially, it could be easier for us later on. Right, now we're going to pick the military theorist. We cannot use him yet, but will be helpful. And we can start setting up our army for China. We're not entirely ready yet, but we will eventually be ready. So the infantry army can cover the entire front and just push into China everywhere. And the cavalry army will also be following them, except from the area side of this, to the left side of this river. So this part here we want to push with the cavalry. The cavalry we are going to use to rush the victory points in the early stages of the war. And then finally the good divisions, these ones are flexible. I usually start on the right side of the front. It's easier to push here. But if needed, they can also go to this area. This is usually where you get stuck, so you may need them there. Now, and I wrote it so I don't forget, this time let's also assign the planes. We can start training the planes a little bit, but then we generally want them to be with one of the armies. In fact, sorry boys, I'm not going to train the planes, never mind. So let's not forget to assign the planes to one of the armies, so they will help with the initial push. Now, we're not rushing the war with China because we cannot attack them anyway. We have a truce until December 27th, so we're going to time our focuses so that we can attack them right after the truce is over. It looks like Japan is being quite successful. Meanwhile, we are grabbing focuses that can be very helpful later on. These 2 discounts for industry and some of the other buffs we retain after switching to the Chinese focus tree, so they are very good. We still lack a bit of equipment, but everybody is trained, so we are ready. Now we need to be careful because as soon as we complete this focus, we want to immediately attack China. Oh, the lack of power is pretty bad. Why is it so bad? If we only lack 1 coal. We should fix this problem. Okay. Let's import a coal. That's a big deficit. Yeah, so I noticed that the coal deficit, even though it was just one coal, the lack of power was pretty big. So I would recommend importing coal a bit earlier than I did in this one. It's still fine, but just do it earlier. Okay, there we are. So we should be able to declare war on China right away. That's very important. And then shortly after, we should be able to join the Japanese faction. It's not there yet. It will be there in a couple of weeks. But we want to join Japan as soon as possible. So for now we're going... No, I don't need to say that. Okay. Okay, so war on China. We start all of the offensives, but in addition to that, we also want to micromanage them a little bit because we want to push as much as possible, as quickly as possible, especially rushing certain victory points. So I would recommend doing it manually for all of these divisions. On this side, you want to make sure that you get to this area quickly. Then on the central side, we want to rush these important victory points around here. And here we want to rush the coastline and of course try to get to Nanjing as fast as possible. I would recommend slowing down the speed a bit because micro for this part of the run is quite important. Yeah, I already don't like what this guy is doing. Of course, we will never surrender. So the key part of this run, the key part of this war is rushing Wuhan, Changde and Changsha. And then especially, probably the most important, Chengdu and Chongqing. If you get stuck on this side, it's fine. And even if the Japanese take Nanjing, it's fine. The important thing is to push this area, because if you don't, you can get stuck in there for a very long time. And it's quite annoying. Okay, they have some divisions here. That's fine. We're going to fight them with the infantry, while ideally we keep the cavalry going. Especially here we have too much cavalry in the same place. We can split them around a bit and continue the push. Okay, here too we can split to take victory points and railways. Okay, this part is going very well. We're close to the victory points we want to get. Now, of course, we don't want to capitulate China yet. But the more we push, the better it is. Oh, very good. We got this victory point. That's a very important one. When you don't get it, it's really, really painful. And we are even advancing towards Nanjing very smoothly. Now, we need these guys to be at war with us or to be annexed by China. And usually both things happen around this time. Let's see what happens now. Okay, so here they're stopping us, but we should be able to get to Wuhan from at least one of these sides. Let's see, hopefully. I am keeping these divisions here for now, so that we can try and rush Chongqing as soon as they are called into the war. Let's keep an eye on China, we don't want them to cap. Okay, here we should be able to get the entire coastline quite easily. Okay, Wuhan is also taken very, very well. Wonder where the Chinese are. Okay, now this is the key part. China annexed Sichuan. So now we need to rush this area. It's very, very, very important. However, this victory point may be too much. It may capitulate China. We don't want to capitulate China. So ideally, if we can, we're going to try. We want to encircle it, not to take it. So take everything around it, but not the victory point itself. And we also want to make sure that this army is covering the entire front. And then soon we'll also need to defend this front a bit. Also, we're getting closer to when the Japanese create their faction. Shanghai is another good one to encircle, so ideally we can keep that too. Let's see if we can get to Nanjing. Nanjing would be very beneficial for us. Okay, we also have these guys that can easily push in here if needed. They unfortunately have some divisions in Chongqing, but let's see. Okay, now they don't have divisions in Chongqing anymore. We took Nanjing, so that's absolutely perfect. Now we need to be a bit careful. Stop the push with the cavalry, micro them a little bit because we cannot afford to lose the stuff that we got. Let's also use railways here. Now I think we can also take, yeah, we can definitely also take Chongqing, so I'm going to take Chongqing here if I can. Chongqing is not enough to cap China yet. We would also need Chengdu, and definitely we need Shanghai. Shanghai is a bit risky because technically the Japanese could take it. So hopefully they will not. Let's see. Let's make sure that this cover is not going anywhere. But okay, this is great. This will make anything else much smoother later on. Let's just make sure they don't leave it. Now here there is also a supply hub, which is awesome. We can try to connect it to the capital if needed. I think that would be wiser for later on, just in case. So let's build a railway. Now, technically this one would be enough. This is probably the fastest. Let's give it the priority. And the Japanese are inviting us to their faction, which we are very happy to do. Alright. So, what we need to do now is basically not to lose what we already got, because we're in great shape. Yunnan hasn't been called into the war yet, but they will be called into the war. We need to be ready for that. In fact, I think I'll take a few of these infantry divisions and I will send them here on a fallback line. Then here we can finish the job. Here too. And here we just want to make sure that we don't lose anything.
准备完毕，长官。他们正在撤退，长官。
And then let's see if we can abuse this situation here a little bit more. Maybe without taking Chengdu, but with taking the area around it. That would be ideal.
出发。
Okay, maybe we can do it like this.
准备移动。
Now, we need to give some stuff to the Japanese because we need to take Beijing. And we want to do it as soon as possible. In fact, I think right now it's already a good time to do that. So, yeah, we just need to wait for a day.
准备移动。是的，长官。
I am slightly worried about this tile. I would like not to lose that tile. Let's see if we can do that.
集合。
And then before capping China, we want Yunnan to join. I guess we could join the war of the Japanese war because Japan is at war with Yunnan. So just in case, we'll do that. But China will most likely call them. Now, at this point, we also have enough army experience to pick a grand battle plan. So let's go on and do that. And start farming some doctrines. Now, as for the Japanese, same strategy we used the last time. We are going to give them control of some states, specifically and ideally states that we don't particularly care about on this side. Maybe a coastline state too. So they will defend them for us. But especially, they will give us Beijing in return. That's exactly what we need. Okay, we can ask for state. Can we get Beijing? We can get Beijing. That's the idea. So at this point, we can cancel this focus. And we can already pick power struggle. The sooner you can do that, the better. Now we just need for power struggle to finish, and then we can capitulate China. So we can start getting in the right position to cap them faster. We just need to wait until the end of the focus. And we can also pick some centralized control. Why did we stop taking this stuff? On this side we may have some issues, so I can tell that we currently cannot push here. So I will move these good divisions on this side of the front. They may be needed to push this area. Alright, now they called Yunnan. And here I can see that we are going to have some issues. Though they should have more issues than us because they don't have supplies in the area. And technically we do have supplies. You have to use trains, boys. Okay, we need to stop pushing. We cannot push them anyway here. Boys. You need to use the freaking railways here. Who is not using the railways? For fuck's sake. No. Damn it. Start moving more divisions on that side, and I think we can take Shanghai because I mean, it's a bit risky. Let's not do it. Where they get supplies from. Okay, since the Japanese are defending this part of the front, we can reunite the main army. Hopefully the Japanese don't send too many divisions here. Otherwise, what we can do is prevent them from doing that. I don't know why I cannot do it here though. What the fuck are you doing? What? Yeah, why? Okay. Assign the planes to the good army. And this is exactly the reason why we made this army. We prepared them. And now they almost got everything they need. So if we could push next to Chengdu, it would be ideal. Still need a little bit for that though. Okay, boys, we're almost there. So we can send one cavalry to take Shanghai. And we can start all of the offensives. That's perfect. Yeah, I think there is a pretty decent chance we can break through here. It's fantastic. Let's also stop these ones and rush Chengdu here. Maybe... No, you can go there. And they can go here. We took Shanghai. By the way, the moment you take Shanghai, you can use some of this political power to pick the Shanghai Power Company. It's a very good one. We can start making convoys with dockyards. And we will adjust the production a little bit later when we capitulate China. Which should be fairly soon, if everything goes well. Yeah, and everything is going well. That should be it. Let's see. Ooh, maybe 1% more we need. Let's see. Maybe we need this one. Maybe there are a couple of victory points here in any case, so it should be smooth. Let's see, let's see. It's done, boys. It's perfectly done. It's the fastest of all of my test runs, so I'm very happy that we managed to do it in the final, in the live version. Look at this. This is absolutely awesome. It is April 1938 and we are going to unify China. April 1938. So, at this point, the peace conference is very easy because we have cores everywhere. We actually have a lot of the score, but even if we didn't, that would be perfect. Because by having cores and being in the same faction as Japan, they will give us land willingly. In fact, most of this stuff will not need, we will not even need to contest most of this stuff. Just in case, though, we start with the part that is bordering Japan, just in case they want to give something to their puppets. We are not okay with that. And then, I don't know, we just take everything. Perfect. So, contest what you need to contest. Japan can absolutely not afford... I mean, they could maybe technically afford to do it, but they don't want to contest it. Because the IE is not willing to contest something that is your core. So the peace conference is incredibly smooth. And when you see stuff taken by the Japanese, it's actually give state to China. So they are giving everything to us, which is very kind. Very, very kind. Look at that. April 1938, China unified. Now, guys, I'm not going to tag other countries because it messes up the game a little bit, but by April 1938, we have 133 factories. Now, this is about, to give you a comparison, twice the amount of factories that Japan has by this time of the run. It's basically the same amount that Germany has by this point of the run, but unlike Germany, we don't have MEFO bills chewing on our civilian... on our consumer goods factories. In fact, we have embraced the opium trade, minus 40%. Consumers good factories factor. We have twice the amount of factories that Italy has and about twice the amount of factories that the UK has. We have less factories than the United States. That's actually the only country in the game at this point that has more factories than us. But they mostly have civilian factories while we mostly have, or at least we have a lot of military factories. I don't think any other country in the world has this many military factories at this point. In short, we are insane, and we're going to be more insane soon. Now we start a very chill part of the run in which we just build up our power to extreme levels, maybe a bit too much. You could do it much faster if you wanted to, but you know, that's the main build up. We have this power, let's use it for something. So we're going to build up the power and then we're going to use it all on our arch enemy, Japan, to devastate them. So let's work on the setup a little bit now. First of all, we have some MIOs unlocked, so now we can assign them to the various equipment types. Then, if you haven't done it yet, pick the Shanghai Power Company. We're going to bring the production of trains to 2, and we're going to add the production of transport planes also to 2. We're going to bring the production of artillery to 4. And we're going to take all of these factories from Infantry Equip. We're going to make convoys and we're going to adjust trade. Make sure you have no deficits. As for buildings, from now on you can just build military factories in the best available provinces. So I will not be mentioning it anymore. We can now also pick let me see. Yeah, we can now also pick the decisive battle expert and the ground support expert. Let's also make a save. Oh yeah, we need to adjust the army. Or not? Yeah. Yeah, okay, of course. Also, we also need to adjust the army a little bit, prepare it for what's coming. So first of all, we are going to duplicate our infantry and we are going to create a defensive template. Vegeta, you will get our def. And then we're going to recruit the max amount of defensive divisions. Eventually we want to have 72 to cover the coastline from naval invasions. Then we're going to change our infantry and we're going to bring it to 24 with 12 infantry battalions. Then, in case you lost some of your cavalry, which is often the case, but we manage it particularly well, you want to recruit them to have 12. You want to recruit what you lost and have 24 in total. Now let's give them a fallback line. Where do we have supplies? I think this area probably. Yeah, so let's give them a fallback line someplace with supplies. We're going to train everybody. Alright, we finally got our facility, so we can get a scientist for it. Do it right away. We need to wait a little bit before the first special project, as we actually need the engineer company, so we'll get it a bit later. However, also very important, in only 20 days we'll get the radio, which is the last piece we need to make SPGs. Yes, we also want to deploy, but we did it already at this point, our Deaf Army, and we can start setting them on a defense, on area defense along the entire coastline. Now keep in mind that this will not be enough to actually defend the coastline. We will need something else. So we set them on a guard coastline. We got 25 of them. We want 72. So that's too many. But math is very difficult. Wait. So this would be 75, 4, 3, 2. 72. Okay, perfect. Make sure that they are training too. We can go for battlefield support. Actually, we will build an air force, and quite a powerful one. But now, more importantly, we can design our SPGs. Now, for the SPG design, I came up, actually, not me, somebody in the comments of my live suggested using the torsion bar and an additional machine gun up here. And I must say the cost is basically the same. The production cost is slightly higher, and you gain a little bit of soft attack compared to having the wet ammunition storage and boogie suspension down here. Overall, I would say it's fine. Slightly more soft attack, slightly higher cost. I'd take the trade. So we like this SPG and we want to produce it. And we want to produce a lot of them. So we're going to reduce the production of infantry equip to only 20, and we're going to give everything to these SPGs. We also want to change our inf, which from now on is not going to be inf anymore, it's going to be offs. And we are going to add 3 SPGs to it. So we bring it to a combat width of 30 and we give it some pretty good soft attack. We can save it. Now that means we also need to train again our main army. By the way, this is a very cool trick. If you add SPGs to this army and you don't have them yet, because we haven't produced them yet, the army will need training, and you can train them even without the SPGs. So they get full training by just using the infantry equip of the template right now. Because right now we have no SPGs in here, only infantry equip. So in this way, when you get the SPGs, they will not be lost to attrition for training, because the army will be already trained. I think that's a very cool trick. Okay, now we got the early truck, and trucks is something we lack and we really need for supplies, so we're going to start producing some trucks. So we set the production at 4, we take them from the SPGs. Then we also want to produce some anti-air, also at 4 from SPGs. And by the way, guys, now not only we are insane, we have infinite manpower. Keep in mind that we are on volunteer only. We have an insane amount of factories, but look at the research slots we have available. We are at all effects more powerful than most majors in the game by this time of the run. And I did not think, I'll be honest, I didn't think that China could be like this powerful this early. That's quite impressive. Now we only need an auto trade button and then we are happy. Alright, support equipment is the last thing we want to produce, and we actually want to produce a lot of support equipment. We need it for many designs. We need it for many templates, so we are going to assign 10 factories to it and take them from the SPGs. Alright, so we can deploy these 47 divisions, and I did the math right. Look at that. Impressive. So we actually get 72 defensive divisions. We want to add some support anti-air to our offs. Going to do that. And then we want to recruit another 24 def. And also, we want another 24 off. We're going to change the old off. I'm sorry, Andrew, your job is done. Back to God Magus. So we get another 6 from here. And then we are going to recruit another. And this template is not used anymore. Another 18 to have 2 full armies of offs. That's quite an overkill. Let's not lie about that. But it's fun. So we'll have 2 full off armies and 1 full def army for the front. And then we also have the cavalry that we're going to adjust a little bit now. So we're also going to change the cavalry, and we're going to bring it to a combat width of 8. So we're still not going to push with it, but this way it's a bit more resilient, and it can actually fairly well defend the front if needed. Okay, we need to train everybody again. We can also pick some Navy Grand Doctrines, not very useful. By the Anyway, it's worth mentioning something now, boys. If you wanted to change ideology, say that you wanted to become fascist, for example, I don't know, it's not particularly needed because later on we'll get something very cool, which I cannot find. The fuck is it? Yeah. Later on we get this thing that reduces the justify war goal time by 25%. So I don't think you particularly need to be fascist, but if you prefer to be fascist or even communist, you can just pick the fascist or communist advisor right now and let him sit there, change your ideology slowly, and then when you get to 50% plus, you can simply use the referendum option and just change ideology, just like that. So you don't need to be non-aligned, you don't need to be fascist, you can be communist. And you can become more powerful than communist China simply by turning this way. Now, since that's not necessarily the plan for this run, I don't particularly care because we are going to end the run after capitulating Japan. But do keep in mind, if you turn fascist, you can join the Axis, you can invade the UK. I mean, you have plenty of options. So, just so you know. In our case, we are not going to use that, so we can fill the last positions in here. We can pick the air combat training. And then we can keep the pick the captain of industry, even though we're not going to use him, and probably the prince of terror just for fun, for additional not needed manpower. Where is my... Oh, okay, it's coming, yes. Okay, the engineer company is an important research for a couple of reasons. First of all, we're going to add... So first of all, we are going to add the support engineer company both to offs and to def. And secondly, that means we can start researching our flamethrower tank special project. Whenever possible, we also want to deploy and train divisions. The sooner, the better. Yeah, we can start deploying some of them at least. Alright, let's pick the last advisor here. Deploy the last divisions. And now we're going to make some additional changes to our def, and we're going to bring them to 18 width. Now we can start improving relations with Germany. The idea is to send them an attaché as soon as they start World War II. And look at us, we changed color, we are now the Empire of China, getting cooler and cooler. And the modifiers, boys, I will show you at the end, but the modifiers we are getting in here are absolutely insane. Alright, this is another important research, because while we haven't gotten the improved small airframe and engines tree yet, we can start making some fairly decent planes. So we're going to make these F1 Plus, and we want them to have range. Range is very important in this region. And we're going to save it, we're going to start producing it. So we want all future factories to go to them. Now let me see one thing. Yeah, trucks are needed. Sure. So we're going to bring the production of anti-air to 3. Infantry equipment to 15. And SPG to 25. Everything else goes into the F1. we already have the logistics company? No, not yet. Okay, Germany at war with Poland, that's great, because we can send them an attaché and take some of their experience. Now, we're also going to create an agency. This is not mandatory because we cannot spy on Japan being in the same faction, but as soon as we leave the faction, we can spy maybe on their mainland, make things a little bit easier for us. Optional, but we have the factories for it, so why not? Now, the other thing that is worth mentioning here is the build that we're going to do in terms of army experience, because as soon as the logistics company is done, we're going to attach it to our army and then we are free to use army experience. No, I'll do that later, sorry. Ah, there we go. We start already. Well, we actually have infinite political powers. In this case, I'm not going to care. But just in case somebody mentioned the trick doesn't work anymore, yes, the trick works. If you do this, it doesn't cost anything anymore. We're going to pick pinpoint strikes, but then from now on we're going to save air experience for when we get the paratroopers. Logistics company, that's something we want to add to our main army. Supplies are a mess here, so we want to reduce the use as much as possible. So offs will have logistics. From now on, however, we can use the army experience more or less freely. I would recommend a Grand Assault into self-propelled support or Assault Infantry, they're both very good. And finally, Streamlined Deployment. The agency, we are going for 5 upgrades. Now soon we should be getting the flame tank. There we go. Perfect. Can design it right away. Nothing fancy, just a basic flame tank. Yeah, artillery can definitely go down to 3. So, since we started producing the flame tank a little bit late, we are going to assign 6 factories to it, taken from the planes, and then we are going to add it to our offs, which is now finally completed.
指示。
Once again, we need to train them a little bit.
何指示？
By the way, I'm going to promote a commander or two to take care of the armies that don't have one. No, no, no.
准备完毕，长官。
Wait, where was it? Ah, yeah.
准备完毕，长官。
Also make sure that everybody has the highest motorization priority, including the area defense army. That can really help. Of course, I forgot the agency upgrades. Now we almost got the next two very important things for our build, which are the paratroopers and the aircraft construction. So the first thing we're going to do is we can finally upgrade to the final planes. So that's going to be our usual C2. this design. And our usual F2, this design. F2. And, okay, yeah, never mind. So for C2, we're going to assign 20 factories, and then everything else will go into the F2. At this point, we also want to deploy and train all of our planes. And we want to start preparing the army for what is coming, which is the war on Japan. Why is this guy not trained? Why is this guy not trained? That's not very cool. Okay, you know what? I don't know why these two didn't get trained, but at this point, I think we're going to use this as our primary army. So these guys can keep training a little bit in the meantime. So the reason why we made two of these armies is that we want one of them to be able to support against naval invasions. The defensive army is okay, but they can struggle if the naval invasion is too strong. It's only one unit per tile, so that can be tough. So we're going to leave this army back here for the time being, ready to help defend against naval invasions, while the other army will be pushing this area. Now in here there are some supply hubs. We want to get all of them, definitely all of these ones, and ideally we want to get all the way to this one here. That's the most important thing. Otherwise this part here can get to... Otherwise this part here can get to be... Oh my god, I cannot speak. Otherwise this part here can be a bit of a struggle. There we go. So, since we cannot have a front line against our allies, we are going to use a full back line. So here with the offensive army. Then we want the cavalry and the defensive army. Both of them we want both of them to cover the entire front line. Like this. And like this. Now the cool thing is once we leave the faction with Japan, we can attack them immediately, and they don't have divisions. That usually means you can rush this Mongol puppet and you can get to many of these supply hubs right away, instantly. Oh yeah, very important. Let's not forget, we also need to design our paratroopers. Before we do that, let's pick the Special Forces doctrines for paratroopers. We can get a couple of them, we'll get more later. So we want the paratroopers to be, or at least I like them to be 16 width. Because I want them to be able to actually fight. In Japan that might be required. And so for the same reason we are going to assign them all of the support companies we have available. Except we don't have the army experience yet. So for now we cannot do that. But we'll do it later. We want to train as many of them as fast as possible. So we're going to deploy them somewhere in here. And we're going to force deploy, try not to forget, as soon as possible so we can start training them. Then once we're ready, and I would say we're ready as soon as these planes are trained. Oh, well, honestly, I don't see any deficits in here. The planes will be trained while fighting. It's okay. So let's deploy all of the additional planes we may have. Let's set them on air superiority and close air support, assign them to the main army. And boys, it's time for action. By the way, for now, these transport planes can still be used on airdrop in the regions where we have less supplies. Let's make a save and let's kick the Japanese ass. And let's kick some Japanese ass. Alright, so the cool thing is we have an available war goal already, which allows us to do this little trick. We leave the faction and we declare war on them immediately. Full betrayal. Italian style, I would like to say. So for now we cannot push the puppets yet, because they are not in the war yet, but they will be soon. The other thing we want to do at this point is we want to import some oil, because we really don't want to run out of oil in the middle of the war. The other thing we want to do is we want to block the sea regions, all of them. We don't want supplies to go by sea because they will be raided to death. We can also pick war bonds right away. Well, let's see what happens. Let's also use the spy. So I would say spying Japan in here is not very useful. Maybe one spy in Korea, and then the others, and then the other one will be in Japan when we get it. Okay, Mongols called into the war. That's very, very cool because it means we can already have a proper front line here. That's much better. No, actually not yet, because these guys were not called into the war, but we can rush the first few victory points in the area. Now, using the SPGs up here is a nightmare. There are no supplies, but we can use our regular def and cav to rush the area. And this is very smooth. This part could have been tough to take, but this way we just take all of the victory points very quickly. Super smooth. And hopefully they will also call, there we go, Manchuria into the war. Now we can assign a proper front line. So SPGs will be like these. Of course, by doing this trick we sacrifice planning, but that's okay. It's worth the trade for sure. Cavalry, push immediately. Infantry, defensive infantry, push immediately. And these guys push immediately. Now, they have a supply hub. Where was it? Yeah, no, these ones are the only ones we can get. Okay. The last spy. No, keep going. If we are fast enough, we can cause them a lot of trouble. It's fun. It's the strategy of this run. I really like that we can use it multiple times. We used it against China. Now we use it again. Now we use it again against Japan. And yes, worth mentioning, we are pushing into core land because all of this is considered our core, which means we have some insane modifiers because we have division attack on core territory plus 10%, defense 10%. We have some other insane one here, another 10% here. So all combined, these buffs are absolutely crazy. And we also have green air. Or I mean, at least we should have green air. Well, we have green air in there. I don't know why we don't have green air in here. But okay. Yeah, let's keep adding to our paratroopers. No, we'll do it later, maybe. And look at that. We already capitulated the Mongols. Which is very cool, because we don't have to worry about this part up here with no supplies.
有何指示？
And we can keep rushing the rest of this part up here with no
准备移
supplies.
动
Slightly better.
对，
Do want to kill these guys though.
你好，
It looks like we may be able to get to this supply hub too. Nah, it's gonna be tough.
准备移动。
Oh no, go there, go there. Yeah, they got completely bugged. Completely bugged.
集合，出发。
Yeah, now the Japanese are coming back.
哎
So here we'll be stuck a little bit. Okay, it's time to stop the push with the cavalry.
注意，
Because we cannot push here for sure.
准备完毕，长官。
Absolutely no supply hubs. We're going to adjust the production a little bit because we got the new guns. So we want the production of guns to 20 and the production of SPG, since we don't need them anymore that much, to also 20. So that should be more balanced. Let's check the situation. The air situation. The air situation is very good. Very good. However, the here situation is not as good. We may need a little bit of time here. Now we can deploy the paratroopers, let's do that, and then let's add some of the support companies already. Now for the time being, these paratroopers can stay here, chill and train.
冲上去！准备完毕，长官。
Now the only little problem we have here is that we stopped right before their supply hub, a bit far from our supply hub. So this can be problematic.
命令。
We're going to check if we can manage this push, and if we cannot, we're going to fall back a bit so that they are in the bad spot for supplies, and then we're going to try again. We're also going to stop pushing here. And we're going to try and reduce the amount of supply used in that area by moving the cavalry and defensive divisions a bit further up.
开始行动！
Yeah, but 9 divisions, we're not going to be able to push. So for that reason, I would say it's better to move back. Let's fall back a bit. Fall back to our supply hub. No, it's one of the great rules of this game. If you don't have supplies, you cannot push. Yeah, I don't want an encirclement though. Oh, I forgot to add the tactic a long time ago. Why do you want to push there? Push there. The Japanese have a lot of divisions here. I don't know if we can find a way to trick them. So here is a naval invasion. Now, of course, you can port cheese. And this is a perfect place to do some port cheesing. I don't feel like we need to. We have a very good army. And we prepared this army for this specific occasion. So we can send him. We can send them up there. Yeah, these divisions are too good, but I would like you to retreat, boys. Okay, nice. Now the situation is the opposite. They don't have supplies, we have supplies. And I like it more. We can also upgrade this supply hub to maximum. Make the situation with supplies here a little bit better. Yeah, apparently we didn't need to defend from that naval invasion in the end. No, come on, stop doing that shit.
备移动。命令。
Currently, I must be honest, I am a little tempted to use paratroopers to go behind their lines here. It could be fun. Meanwhile, let's also get some network in here, it can help. Alright, so these guys here can definitely push. I don't know if they can push all the way to that place, but I think we're going to try. Going to start all offensives at once, and these guys we're going to specifically try and rush that, while they try to go from above.
准备完毕，长官。命令。
Here is where having the supply grace would really help.
让他们尝尝厉害。有何指示？
It's tricky. It's very tricky here. Not saying that this is impossible, but we sent way too many divisions here. Well, let's try.
准备，对，来吧，开始行动。 遭到攻击！后退！
Too many. They have too many divisions there. So we need another supply hub. It doesn't look like we can get one easily. I should have sent a cavalry earlier. The lack of supplies, boys. The lack of supplies is causing us massive issues here. Now we cannot do it now. We need to fall back again.
准备。命令。准备完毕，长官。出发。遭到攻击。准备完毕，长官。对。 有指示。集合。
Need to give them a safer way back.
出发。
Not there, come on.
保持距离。准备。 指示。集合。
I'm going to start building a supply hub up here, just in case. It takes forever, so probably we're not going to be able to use it, but let's see. But I have the feeling that what will save us from this stalemate is paratroopers. The other thing I'm going to do is prioritize logistical focus over the other doctrines. The supplies are the biggest issue at the moment. So I think we can give it one more try like this, even though it doesn't look very promising. And if it doesn't work, we go with the paratroopers. Nah, you know what? Let's just go with the paratroopers. So, yeah, we go from Qingdao. Let me see whether we... so the supply hubs are here. So ideally, we need to take this area here. Or maybe this area here, and then we can send the second army, but they will be without supplies because we cannot send supplies by sea. So yeah, this place is the key. Okay. And I will also move this army away from here because it's taking supplies from the paratroopers. Also assign them here. We have 68.2. Yeah, usually you can trick can trick the Japanese a bit if you do something like this. And this. Let's make a save just in case. Okay. 77. We also locked one day. You gotta be fucking kidding me, come on. Oh, okay, they went. Yeah, but only some of them, that's a bit of a problem. Okay, the other ones are going now. Risky, but it seems like it's working. Nice. Very nice. Very, very nice, boys. Awesome. This is a nice showcase on how paratroopers can be useful outside of para-dropping victory points. Like, this was a place where we were significantly stuck. Not going to lie. Significantly stuck. And now we actually got a nice encirclement. Now, the problem is we need to connect these supply hubs. They are not connected currently. We just need this railway to be built as fast as possible. And okay, now I think we cannot push any more than this, but that's okay. We already pushed very well. Now we can prepare them for the next push. And the paratroopers can actually go here. Not pushing, not pushing. Just hold it. Cavalry shouldn't push anymore. Hey, where is this? I am a bit tempted because Japan is being quite annoying, so I'm a little tempted. We can make a few more paratroopers, by the way. I'm a little tempted to port cheese them, but no, let's take the challenge. It's okay. Look at that, we're actually going to get this victory point now. This supply hub now. So now our supply situation in the area will improve massively. And at the same time, the Japanese situation will be much, much worse. We can keep pushing here. Keep the pressure up. I don't know why we're pushing with these guys though. Actually have a lot of divisions there that we can kill. And maybe we don't need to do it with paratroopers. Let's do it with some SPGs. Oh, they actually disembarked here. Look at them.
命令。
And now the SPGs are doing their job. Now the SPGs are doing their job. By the way, the more Japanese we kill in here, the easier it will be to invade Japan. So it's not necessarily a waste of time.
准备完毕，长官。
Now, again, there are a lot of supply hubs in here that I am a bit tempted to paradrop. I think we have a very nice airfield here that we can use. So let's do that.
有何指示？
Oh my god, because they are not there yet. Okay.
集合！
Yeah, we could try to get this area here.
集合！命令！
Good problem.
命令！起身！起身！准备！准备完毕，长官。 有何指示？遭到攻击！
That's another supply hub, very nice.
有何指示？
Let's kill these guys. Alright, let's go. They have some divisions. Japanese are really defending hard. It's okay. We got it. Now, where do they get their supplies from? The only place they have left to get supplies is this one. Once we get this one, they will basically have no supplies at all. Now, since we destroyed the other naval invasion, we can send this army to take care of Korea specifically. Korea is usually a bit better in terms of supplies.
继续前进！ 起身！注意！出发！命令！准备！
However, I think they can push, but I don't think they can push. Okay, they left this place. Let's see if we can rush the harbor. No, they lost. I'll go with Assault Infantry because it buffs the soft attack from support artillery, and that will be beneficial for more units overall. Make sure we don't run out of fuel, so I will import a little bit more. We're a bit late compared to my last test run. At this point we were already capitulating Japan, but we're a bit unlucky with the initial push because we couldn't get the supply hub in there. It's totally fine. There is nobody in this pocket. I like the pocket, boys, but there is nobody in it. And also this army got completely messed up. Ah, fuck. Not ideal. Yeah. Okay, let's go with the paratroopers maybe. And let's give ourselves some supplies in this area maybe. A lot of Japanese divisions are in here, so if you can take this harbor and prevent them from going back to Japan, it's going to be very cool. This is also going to help a lot. Okay, we don't need to push with the paratroopers anymore. Send them back. Now, the absolute priority is building air bases in Korea. We absolutely need them. Yeah, we don't need this anymore, actually. We absolutely need them to get the paratroopers over Japan. A lot of Japanese divisions here. This naval invasion could be a little annoying because right now we don't have an army ready to push them away. So this is a bit too many paratroopers. I'm going to use 16 for our main army. Maybe the other ones can actually be helpful here. If not, we'll just send an army down. Oh, we got the harbor. We got the harbor, which means officially the Japanese don't have any access to supplies from this area and they cannot retreat any of the divisions they have in here from the area. So now, the army that was pushing there, let's temporarily send it down here. Because I think the cavalry and defensive army are enough to take care of this place. Which we, by the way, don't need to take care of. We'll be quite clear about that. We're doing these for fun, if you consider this fun, but for the challenge, because of course you just need to power drop into Japan, and the easiest way is to do it from Korea, which we're going to do very soon.
指示？
So I'd like these paratroopers to be trained, but I don't know if that's possible. Probably not. Now we are mainly waiting for the airfields to be built. While we wait for that to happen, though, we can help these guys a bit. Interesting that the Japanese somehow always have supplies. Okay, I don't think we actually need this army down here. .400 planes should already be enough for the air supply. I mean, for the paratroopers. So let's see if that's enough. Okay. We're almost trained though, so I think I'll continue a little bit longer and train them fully before we go. By the way, because this is a defensive war for Japan, we need to capitulate them. We need to bring them down to 10% or less, which means getting to Tokyo is not enough. We actually need to go all the way to Sapporo. So we'll need our paratroopers to do a couple more drops at some point, for sure. Once we get the planning, I'd say we push into Manchuria. Heal them completely. And we can also reorganize Manchuria. And at this point, no, I will not pick this, but a domestic film industry, yes, why not? Oh, the spies, I forgot about the spies. And let's use them in Japan, we'll need them. I'll increase the production of planes a bit, transport planes a bit. Make sure we don't lock them. Okay, let's push into Manchuria now.
完毕，长官。
From now on, focuses are free. I would recommend air production for the time being. Why you know that? Because it's in the spreadsheet, so I don't need to say it. By the way, if you take a bit too longer to capitulate Japan, or a bit longer to capitulate Japan, they annex Vichy France in here, so you will need to send an army to protect this area, but that's actually very good, and you also get to annex this part in the peace conference, so it's almost better.
集合。
Oh, a naval invasion in Korea. That's cool. Ah, yeah, that's not Korea.
准备完毕，长官。是的，长官。
So that's an area I was not defending.
对。准备完毕，长官。
That's gonna be a little bit annoying. Because that's the only supply hub in the area. Okay, we can push with them too. And the paratroopers now are definitely ready, so let's start planning the drop.
有何指示？有何指示？
Why? Okay, they are here. They are standing by.
准备完毕，长
Why
官。
don't you let me drop from there? Okay. Let's do it from here then.
集合。
From here we can? No. Okay, what's the problem?
"有何指示？ 准备完毕，长官。 命令。
Let me power drop, what's the fucking problem? Stupid game. Why not? What do you mean no? Okay. Nah, they were still assigned to this mission, even though I thought I cancelled it.
命令。
No. God damn it, boys. God damn, I'm losing it. Why not? What do you mean, no? What? Are you kidding me? Because they are still assigned to this stupid mission. What?
准备移动。
Okay, now we can. Crazy, it's crazy. Okay. Now, the choice about power dropping Japan, usually Nagasaki is the best, and it's fairly easy to get it. However, the supply mess is real, so I don't know. Japan probably has quite a decent amount of divisions at home. Let's see, they still have like 40, 50 divisions, something like 50 divisions. That definitely they have some in here, but probably not that many. They probably have around 20 divisions back in the mainland, and without supplies, because we don't have a navy, that can be painful, especially considering we need to go to Sapporo. So of course the primary goal is to be able to send an army over, these armies specifically, if they can kill this one division at some point, hopefully. Okay, nice. Let's also make sure that the entire coastline is being defended. Okay, that's better. Yeah, so if we go in here, they will have more time to reorganize. If we go to Hiroshima, then we can spread in several ways, in several directions. I am tempted to go for Hiroshima, even though it's slightly further away. So let's do Hiroshima.
有何指示？命令。准备完毕，长官。是的，长官。你好。你好。准备移动。
Okay, I like the way this looks. Hopefully it will be fine. Stop and go along there first. This is also going to help a lot. Okay, let's go. This part should be smooth. They are defending Hiroshima with a couple of divisions. But maybe at this point they are not defending Nagasaki. Let's try to go for it. Also, I think we can easily take Hiroshima. Come on, go, go, go. What? They're evening vision now. That's annoying because I need to defend it. So they didn't get any harbor, so this should be fast. Okay, we got Hiroshima. And that's awesome. Problem is I don't have the divisions to send over right now. We can send over this army because up there they are done. Okay. We also got Nagasaki. Awesome. So taking all of Japan only with paratroopers might prove to be a bit tricky.
退，长官。准备移动。
I hate the mess that is Japan. It's so many little islands.
准备完毕，长官。
It's always an absolute mess to push in here. Okay, we got this done too. Send more divisions.
是的，长官。是的，长官。有何指示？有何指示？
But now ideally
准备移动。
we kill them fast here.
命令。准备完毕，长官。
That guy's gonna be encircled. She's okay, but
注意！ 注意！集合！
Manchuria is still alive though.
是的，长官。准备完毕。
Okay, now the SPGs are getting here.
集合！出发！准备移动。
The lack of supplies because of the navy is real. So we're going to unlock all of these sea regions. Oh, and by the way, yeah, here is Japan. So they did get Vichy France. I didn't even notice. Why did they get only... Ah, no, maybe this was a naval invasion then. No, but it's in there. I don't know. Maybe it's a naval invasion of... Okay, I don't know. I'm confused as to why Japan is there, but it doesn't matter. They don't have divisions anyway. We'll send just a random army to cover that. Awesome. We completely took the islands down here. Now, just in case, it shouldn't be needed, but just in case, I want to go for a naval invasion. I mean, I want to go for a power drop of Sapporo. Because I think Yokohama and Tokyo may not be enough. Let's see. Let's see, if Tokyo is enough, then GG, and that's easy. Tokyo is not enough, so as I thought, we need to go all the way to Sapporo, and for that, if we can get an airfield, that would be beneficial. I should have an airfield somewhere around here. It's just a formality, but it's still a formality that we need to complete here. Ah, there is the... Okay, there is the airfield. Perfect. Now, from that airfield, we can drop into Sapporo. Of course, we cannot, because they are not there yet. Well, we can start moving there. Okay, planes are there. Let's get our Mori just in case.
官。
是的，长官。
Okay, boys, 7 days, and I think this war will be over. Not a painless war, because pushing into Manchuria is incredibly painful. But what I'm really happy about here is that I was able to show a way to use paratroopers in a non-cheesy way and to support a regular army, not to replace a regular army. I think that's pretty cool. One more day, boys, and Japan is done. Bye, Japan. Sapporo is taken, the war is officially over. Hopefully. Actually, not yet. Wait, it should be over though. So we took everything. Maybe Sendai. Okay, let's get Sendai. Look at Japan, really tough, by the way. The fact that we are in an offensive war against them make them indeed much harder to capitulate. Luckily, they had a lot of their army in here. But now it is officially over. Japan has capitulated. Of course, we have 100% of the score. And even though this was a bit later than in my last attempt, maybe a couple of months later, no big deal. If you're very fast and if you optimize the push into Korea, ignore Manchuria and go straight for Japan, you can definitely get this done in 1940. This is early 1941, but you can get it done in 1940. Although, as I mentioned, even though they didn't get all of it, so I'm still confused about this, but we'll see in the peace conference what happens. Let's make a save, just in case. Yeah, also, let me see the last time I did this. Actually not. It wasn't faster last time. Look at that. Interesting. Interesting. So, we can be very happy. It was basically the same timing. Boom! Yeah, I know why we were ahead with the focuses, because we picked the focus a bit earlier. In any case, Japan is down 100% of the score. Now, you can do whatever you want. I don't know how Japan got this stuff, but not the rest. Looks like it's a bit bugged. I think they should have gotten all of Vichy France, but somehow they only got this place. Okay, I'll take it. Now, I don't like Puppet Japan because they do some weird stuff. Sometimes Chile declares war on them, shit like that. And also, I feel like Chinese would like to occupy Japan. I feel like they would like to keep Japan under their direct control rather than having it as a puppet. So we're going to annex everything. And hopefully we also have enough points to take the entire Japanese Navy. That's the case. Now, we didn't damage the Japanese Navy at all. We didn't fight it at all. And they didn't fight in World War II. So what we achieved by now is insane power. We are the Empire of China, we control Japan, we control the Japanese Navy, and it is only 1941. If you want to join the German Reich and fight the Soviet Union, well, you have the perfect position to capitulate them fast. Or if you prefer to join the German Reich to invade the UK, of course you can do that as well, because we have the Japanese fleet. You can get docking rights from Portugal. You can probably get docking rights from India if you improve relations enough. You can get docking rights from Italy. And then you can plan an insane naval invasion and go all the way to Spain. Spain will not join any faction. Then you will have your own access to Europe. And then from Spain you can decide whether to help the Axis or fight the Axis. In any case, the US is not going to join because we took Japan out. So there is nothing to worry about there. So guys, February 1941, Empire of China, Japan under our direct control. Insane modifiers. Division attack, division defense, recruitable population, army experience daily, stability, war support, again attack and defense on core territory, then political power gain, army experience gain, minus 5% consumer goods factories factor, minus 40% consumer goods factories factor. And look at the modifiers on our leader. Party popularity, stability, division attack, division defense, justify war goal time, minus 25%. China is insane as long as you use the right strategy, and this is the right strategy. I thought China was bad and I do not stand by it. China is awesome. I was absolutely wrong. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this run, any suggestions for further improvements if you have them. and then we'll see if I find the will to work on Communist China, though I don't think this can be beaten. Honestly, I think this is the most you can do as China. This is as powerful as it gets. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, liking, subscribing and leaving a comment really helps. That being said, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys very soon in the next video. Bye bye!